What's up, YouTube? Georgia Silver Hunter back, and you're coming in on part 2 of a 3-bank coin roll hunt that I got going here. I'll put a link in the upper right-hand corner for part number 1, where we had a great little nickel score. This is our second grouping of coins that we got from a second Wells Fargo. We got 10 rolls of quarters, 10 rolls of nickels, and 10 rolls of pennies that we'll be sorting through today. And depending on how many finds we have, we may move on to bank number 3, which was a Fifth Third bank inside of my local Kroger. And hopefully we'll have time to do those in this. Otherwise, there will be a part 3. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump into these things. I'm actually going to do them in reverse order. We'll start with the quarters, we'll do the nickels second, and we'll finish with the pennies. So let's jump into it. All right, well, I'm going to try to open all 10 of these rolls on camera. I may hunt the majority of it off camera, though. I just want you guys to see me opening them all in case we find a little bit of silver, which I'm not sure we will, but it's always nice to have these roll openings filmed just in case. So I'm going to go ahead and do 5 of the Loomis wrapped first. As I said, I'll go back through looking for mint errors, varieties, San Francisco proofs, San Francisco business strikes, W quarters, you name it, we hunt for it on this channel. If you're interested in a more full list of what we hunt for, I do have a document in the description down below this video and all of my coin roll hunts that lays out everything that we look for regardless of denomination. Got a couple of like silvery looking guys in there, but they're just more of the nickel edge than the copper edge there, or the clad edge versus the copper edge. So I do see a lot of 2022s and some of the newer 2023s. I'm not seeing any silver there. Again, lots of shiny things. Super shiny. Here's roll number 4, and as I go back through these, if I find any of the things I just mentioned, I'll be sure to bring you in and we'll talk about what we found. All right, nothing there in roll number 4. And here we go with roll number 5. And again, lots of that clad edge, just not as much copper there. But I'm not seeing anything jumping out. All right, well, let me get through these. And depending on what we find, we'll move on to the next 5 rolls. Okay, well, those first 5 rolls were kind of a bust. We did come up with a 2009 Philly. I do hang on to all these, and this Duke Ellington is one that I've got a special eye out for because there's a DDR that there's doubling down in the piano keys. And if you can find one of those, they're worth a good little amount of money. I say good little amount, a good amount of money, and I've never found one, so I constantly look for that one, but I get very few Duke Ellington quarters in my hunts. Anyway, if you're lucky enough to find one, I'd love to know in the comments down below, and if you did find one, did you sell it, and how much did you make on it? But we're going to go ahead and continue on through our coin roll hunt here. I do get asked that question a lot. Do I sell a lot of the stuff I find? And the reality is, no, I don't. I do sell stuff from time to time, but I actually hang on to most of what I find. So this is roll number 7. We're into the customer wraps at this point. And this is where a lot of times people get really lucky finding their silver. So far, I'm still waiting for that super big quarter roll score where I get a whole roll or several rolls full of silver. That has not happened to me, but I'm hoping one day it will. Sorry if that's a little off camera there. Some of these things are pretty gunky. Pretty gross, honestly. But so far, we are just looking at all clad. Let me move my Duke Ellington out of the way here. have any silver here in the final roll? We do not. All right, you guys know the drill. Hopefully you'll see me back on camera before we move on to the nickels. Well, we've made our way through the quarters, and we didn't have a whole lot to show for it. Nothing of any major value. We did have one decent-looking Philadelphia Bicentennial, which we'll probably hang on to. And then we did end up with a couple of 2009s and one 2010, and these guys are all pretty low mintage. I'll go ahead and put the mintage of the screen on the screen of these three coins. We got the Denver for Puerto Rico. We have the District of Columbia from Philadelphia. And which one is this one? The Arkansas 2010 out of Philadelphia. All those are going to be relatively low mintage. Nothing special, but I do hang on to them because of the low mintage. That said, we're going to go ahead and jump into some nickel rolls here, and hopefully we get a couple of decent finds. At least something better than what we found in those quarters. And again, I'm quickly just going to open these and see if anything jumps out at me as potentially silver. Now, we'll know it typically from the patina of the coin, and I will go ahead and spread them out like this, and it might help me find some that are a little bit different color. Obviously, we're also on the lookout for buffaloes, V-nickels, and anything 1959 and prior, which they're impossible to hunt for from edge hunting. You've got to kind of look at each coin. And there are a ton of mint errors and varieties to be found on the older coins. Some on the newer coins, but I mainly hunt the old ones. So that's just a really ugly nickel. I'm going to have to get that under the scope to figure that out. All right, I'm going to do one more on camera just to keep the length of the video down. So far, nothing too special looking in these nickels. All right, I'm not seeing anything in here either. So hopefully I'll bring you in soon with something of interest. So we are 6 rolls from the end. I've got roll 6, I guess, from the end and 5 from the end. And about halfway through, we've come across our first find. Now, this did come up reverse facing, and I was pretty sure it was going to be an oldie, but I wanted to check the date. And as you can see, we got a Philly, because there's no mint mark on the back, and we got a 1940. So first real find of the hunt. Getting through those last 2 rolls of this particular batch, and we've come across one more find. Now, I did see this from the reverse, flipped it over just to check the date. You know, you can typically tell when these are going to be older just by the wear and the color. We got another Philadelphia, this time a 1956. Well, after part 1, those nickels were a disappointment. We just ended up with the 1940 and the 1956 out of all those rolls of nickels. We'll put those aside, and we're going to go ahead and move on to the pennies, but I did want to stop here. I know I said we had 10 rolls. I did weigh them all, and it does appear that I've got a couple, at least 2, brand new 2024 rolls of pennies. And at 126.8, I'm going to guess that is a full roll of the Philadelphias. I checked eBay, and these are surprisingly going for a couple of bucks a pop. So I may try to sell them there. Who knows? I may just return them. It may not be worth the hassle. But at 126.8 grams, this is going to be an entire roll of zinc pennies and probably all 2024s. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and jump into the rest of these pennies, and I'll be sure to bring you in. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and open this first red roll together, since it is a different color wrap than I normally see. And I'm kind of dying to see what's inside. Hopefully you are too. All right, well, let's do this red roll and see what it's got in it. We'll go through it really, really quickly. I'm not going to look at every single penny on camera, but I will kind of scoop through them to see if we have any wheat pennies, or at least count out our coppers. I'm assuming there's going to be coppers in here, just simply because it's almost impossible to find a customer wrapped roll that doesn't have a few coppers in it these days. So you can see all the brown in there, so we know we're going to have some. Let's take a quick dive through here for just the stuff that's going to jump out at me. 84, all right. These are looking very coppery. So we've got a 1982 and a 1982. Both look to be large date. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the scale. It's a little off camera, so they're 3.1 grams, or at least that one was. That one was as well. So those are Those are going to be copper, and I may miss a couple as we go through here. Just trying to quickly see what we got. There's a 1980, also going to be copper. So 82 was a split year, so there's 79. Some of them are zinc, some of them are copper, so you do have to weigh them to tell the difference. A lot of people can tell just from the color. There's a 1992, we'll be sure to check that for, I think it's the close AM. But you can tell kind of from the color. I like to weigh them just to double check. And, you know, at the end of the day, I do keep all my copper separate because copper is worth more. The copper weight of pennies is worth more than the penny's worth. So I do hang on to all of those. So let's see here. That looks like it's about it. I may have missed a couple. But no Wheaties, 4 coppers. I'm going to go back through these. Let's go ahead and open one bank wrapped roll here on camera just to see if these look any better or any different. I was trying to do that neatly. Oh well. See here, nothing there. We've got a copper there, 74. Just really quick looking for some Wheaties. Just to see. One more coppery looking guy. That's a 78. And a 72. Okay, well, I'm going to go through these. If I find anything cool or interesting, I'll bring you in. But with pennies, usually I find a lot of copper, but not a lot of varieties, but I always do look for them. So there's a couple more coppers. Anyway, hopefully we'll see you soon. Well, we've gone through all of the 8 other rolls except for the 2 that I was pretty sure were 2024. And actually, of those 8 rolls, I did have 2 more rolls that were 2024 enders, but it was the reverse, so I couldn't tell till I opened them up. So I actually ended up with 4 full rolls of 2024, but I've actually opened those, rewrapped them, and they're going to go back to the bank. And like I said, I may sell those too. Now, in the remaining 6 rolls, we ended up with 138.9 grams of copper, so that's our 1982 and prior. And we did end up with a handful of nice little red coppers that we're going to hang on to. We keep our red separate from our brown copper. Now, on coin apps at today's copper price are 138 point, well, it's 8 now, 138.9. We've got about $1 and $21.22 in copper sitting here on the scale. So that's why I hang on to this stuff. I do keep it as pennies. I don't try to melt it or anything like that. I just hang on to it. We did check every single penny in those 10 rolls for DDRs, DDOs, mint errors, repunch mint marks, all that kind of good stuff, and we found nothing. So because we had very few finds, and this is probably edited together pretty short, we're going to go ahead and get into bank number 3, which was our Fifth Third bank inside of a Kroger, and we're going to start with those quarters all the way in the back. All right, well, let's go ahead and unwrap all 5 rolls and lay them out here. We'll edge hunt for some silver, and if anything else looks odd or off, we'll take a quick look while we're unrolling, or I don't know what you call it when we're dumping them out. Well, there's one of the new 2024, and I can't ever say the name, the Zitka, I don't know how to say it. Anyway, 2024 Philly, so that's kind of a neat find. We've only found a few of those, maybe 1 or 2 in previous hunts. But so far, just some clad. Here's roll number 2. Now, we only have 5 of these, so this should go pretty quick, unless we happen to get lucky. So, nothing there. You know, what's funny is I used to find San Francisco business strikes like all day long. Every hunt, I felt like I was finding San Francisco business strikes. I haven't seen one of those in probably 6 or 7 months now, which I just think is kind of weird. So nothing there. No silver in that one. And roll number 5 right here. This looks like it's probably a little overstuffed actually, which is good because usually I get understuffed somewhere. And again, I'm not seeing any silver. We got a couple that are bigger clad layer than copper layer, but not seeing the silver. All right, well, I'm going to go off camera. I'll go through these, and I'll bring in for the die chips and the other minor errors that maybe, well, we typically find in our quarters here in Atlanta, Georgia, but who knows? Maybe we'll find nothing. So we finished going through the quarters, and we didn't find much, so I didn't bring you in. We'll start up here at the top, and I think I mentioned this as I was going through the unwrapping. We did get one of the brand new quarters. I'm not even going to attempt pronouncing it. It's the Author Activist Composer Women's Quarter 2024 Philly, and I think I do need one more for my Women's Quarter albums because I've got two of them. We did get 3 die chips. Now, this Man Killer we used to find all the time. This one has the little die chip in the hair. These are really, really common. This one's got a little bit of dirt on it, but if you were unaware, it looks like we got a little Drooling George on there too. It's a die chip on the mouth. But the one that's really, really valuable is the one that's got a die crack, it's like a, I don't know what you call it, a cud. It's a planchet error. Actually, I think it's a cracked planchet now that I'm saying it out loud, where it's a just huge cut through the coin. And I found one probably 2 years ago. Sold it for quite a bit of money. We did get 2 of the Marietta Chiefs with the die chip up here in the ribbons. I'll go ahead and put that up here on the scope so you can see it. We've got 2 with that little die chip right there. I understand there's a handful of other errors on this with die chips like in the skirt or in the sort of the torso of Marietta Chief. I have never found those, but feel free to look on eBay for people selling those. We did get a 2010 and a 2011. Now this 2010 I'm probably going to pitch back because it's pretty gnarly, but it is a Denver. The 2009s, 10s, 11s, and even some of the 12s are super low mintage, so I hang on to those typically. And we did get 1 Philly Bicentennial, 1 Denver Bicentennial, no DDO on that, so that's going to just probably go back to the bank. So for 5 rolls, not too bad. Couple 3 die chip errors, which we'll take, and of course 1 coin for our books, so we'll hang on to that as well. Probably pitching at least 3 of these 4 coins back. So we're going to go ahead and get into those dimes next. Well, our dimes produced a whole lot of nothing, so this second part of our little bank run is not really working out for us. We haven't found a whole lot to write home about. We're going to go ahead and jump into these last 10 rolls of nickels and hope they turn things around for us. I did want to go ahead and just open maybe 2 rolls on camera and see if anything jumps out at us. A couple of discolored guys in here. There might be some older ones in there, but no buffaloes, nothing that looked too old. Hopefully that was all on camera. Sorry, I was a little bit off to the side. And let's do one more roll for you, more towards the middle. Oh, we got a penny. It's always fun to lose 4 cents at the beginning of the hunt, or the beginning of your nickel hunt. It's a 1994, so not even copper, which is unfortunate. So for those of you that don't like customer wrapped rolls and they get misstuffed or you get shorted, I actually got shorted by 2 dimes in those bank wrap dime rolls. And so far we've been misstuffed on a nickel roll from the bank. So I'm going to go back through these. I'll bring you in as we find stuff. Well, we're getting through the last 5 rolls, and I guess to bring you in, we did get stiffed by 1 other nickel. We had another roll that had a nickel in it, but at least this time we got a nice copper 1972D. No errors on it or anything, no varieties. But on roll number 6, we've got our first real find of this of these nickels. We've got ourselves a 1947. It's a Philly. It's nothing special on it, just a pre-59 or pre-60 find. Well, we are on our last roll and probably our last find of the hunt here. I've already looked at the face and that's why I know what we have, but we've got a Denver on the back and a 1956 on the front. So that makes 2 pre-60 nickels and 2 pennies so far. Well, that is the end of part 2 of our video, and as you can see, not near as good as part number 1. If you didn't catch that, I do recommend you go back and check it out. If I remember, I'll put a link right up here in the corner so you can find it a little bit easier. But we found a lot more goodies in that one because we had a little mini collection dump. But in this one, this is maybe what I would say is a more typical hunt, especially if you're going to do small number of rolls. So to recap those nickels last, we did have 2 pre-60s finds. We had a 47, and we had, I can't even remember what it was now, a 56 Denver. We did get a copper penny that was misstuffed in there, so we lost 4 cents, and we did get 1 zinc penny, so we lost 4 cents there. On the quarters, nothing to write home about. A couple of 2009s and a couple of 2010s and a gorgeous Philadelphia Bicentennial. They overproduce these things, so really not worth a whole lot individually, but if you can make a really nice roll of them, you can sell those on eBay for a little bit of a premium. And of course, in our pennies, we got about 5 or 6 really nice red coppers. The rest were all brown copper. No errors, no DDOs to speak of, nothing like that. Just it ended up being like, I can't remember now, like $1.28 or something like that in copper in these pennies. So especially with all the news going around about them discontinuing the penny, or the threat, again, more realistic threat, I guess, to discontinue the penny, these might be a lot more fun to hunt because they may be going away. Who knows? We'll see. But that's the end of our video. If you enjoyed it, let me know by dropping down below. Click that like button. Leave me a comment while you're down there. Please share if you've got friends that like coin roll hunts that haven't yet found my channel. I'd really appreciate it. Or share on your other social media sites. What else? If you're new to the channel and you like coin roll hunts, make sure you do click on that subscribe button. Then click on that little bell and select all so you get notified each and every time I release a new video. I'd like to say thank you to all my channel members who support me each and every month. Every little bit helps. I really, really appreciate it. So thank you guys a bunch. With that, we're off to another volleyball tournament. By the time this gets posted, we're going to already be there. We'll be in Kansas City at the Triple Crown big volleyball event there. There's going to be, like, I don't know, a couple hundred teams there. So it's going to be a big weekend. So I'll be gone throughout the weekend and into early next week. So my next content won't come out till sometime after this video, sometime late next week. So anyway, hope you guys are all doing well. Take care, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one.